You want to know your soul's true purpose? That's exactly what we're going to talk about. Not motivation, not productivity, not finding your passion. Your soul's true purpose. The one Edgar Cayce said you carried into this life before you even knew your own name. And what if you've never actually been lost? You've just been listening to the wrong voice. Not the voice of your parents, not society, not even your own ambitions. The voice that knows. Edgar Cayce, the most documented psychic in American history, gave over 14,000 readings across 4 decades. And again, one theme surfaced from the depths. Most human suffering isn't caused by bad circumstances. It's caused by souls living someone else's script. So today we're not going to talk about finding your passion. That conversation is too small for what you actually are. We're going to talk about remembering your soul's vocation. And those are 2 completely different things. Here's the illusion nobody warns you about. We were taught that purpose is something you choose. Pick a career, follow your interests, align your values, build a brand around your personality. And maybe that works on the surface. But Cayce saw something deeper. In reading after reading, he described souls arriving into this life not as blank slates, but as continuations. Each person carrying forward a thread, a work, a wound, a lesson that began long before this body. He called it soul memory, and he said, the soul doesn't forget, even when the conscious mind has no idea who it truly is. So the question isn't, what do I want to do with my life? The question is, what did I come here to continue? Now here's where it gets strange. Cayce once gave a reading for a young man paralyzed by indecision. He'd tried 3 careers. He felt fraudulent in all of them. He was intelligent, capable, and utterly hollow inside. Cayce didn't tell him to try harder. He didn't say, find what you love and the money will follow. He said, look at what you keep returning to, not with logic, but with longing. The man, it turned out, had a lifelong obsession with healing, but had dismissed it because it didn't fit his family's expectations. He'd buried it so many times it had become invisible to him. But the soul doesn't bury easily. It resurfaces. In dreams, in unexplained fascinations, in the books you can't stop reading, in the conversations that make you feel, for just a moment, entirely alive. Cayce said that aliveness, that's not a coincidence, that's a signal. And this is the part most people never consider. Your suffering might be part of the signal too. Cayce taught that many souls choose specific limitations before incarnating, not as punishment, but as a curriculum. The chronic sense of not belonging, the pattern of abandonment, the lifelong struggle with self-worth. These aren't random wounds. They are, in Cayce's framework, the friction that activates the soul's particular gift. Think about it this way. The person who grew up invisible often becomes the one who makes others feel seen. The person who was silenced often becomes the voice that wakes people up. The wound and the vocation are not opposites. They are often the same thing, just at different stages of transformation. So stop trying to fix yourself before you start living your purpose. The purpose might require exactly the version of you that has been through exactly what you've been through. But here's where we need to slow down, because this is where people get it wrong. Realizing you have a soul vocation doesn't mean you quit your job tomorrow. It doesn't mean you wait for a vision or a sign from above. Cayce was unusually practical for a mystic. He said, the soul expresses its purpose through quality, not just activity. You can be a teacher and live your vocation. You can be a carpenter and live your vocation. You can be a parent, a nurse, an artist, a mathematician. And in any of those roles, you can either be operating from ego or from soul. The difference isn't the job title. The difference is whether you're bringing yourself, your full, unedited, unperformed self, to what you do. Ego purpose asks, how will this make me look? Soul purpose asks, who does this allow me to become? Now, a moment of honesty. Most of us are terrified of the answer, because the soul's true purpose is rarely the safe choice. It rarely comes with applause at the beginning. It often asks you to do the very thing that feels most exposing, most vulnerable, most you. And we've been trained for most of our lives to be anything but that. So we stay busy, we optimize, we curate. We perform competence in directions that were never ours to begin with. And underneath all of it, quiet, patient, utterly unimpressed by our busyness, the soul waits. Cayce said the soul is never in a hurry, but it also never gives up. Here's what he suggested practically. First, follow the inexplicable. The things you love that you can't explain. the subjects that grip you without reason. Don't demand they make sense yet, just notice them. They are often the soul speaking in a language that bypasses logic. Second, study your pattern of joy. Not happiness. Joy is different. Happiness is relief, joy is expansion. When do you feel genuinely expanded, genuinely more of yourself? Those moments are data points. They are your soul showing you its frequency. Third, sit with your recurring longing. Not your ambitions, your longings. The quiet ones you've almost stopped admitting to yourself. Believe those aren't illusions. They are memories. The soul knows what it came to do, and it will keep whispering if you create enough silence to hear it. Fourth, stop editing yourself for acceptance. This one's the hardest. Was clear. The soul cannot express its purpose through a performed version of you. You have to be willing to be real even when real is uncomfortable, especially then. There's a line from one of Cayce's readings that has stayed with me. He said, "Each soul enters with a song to sing, a service to render, a truth to demonstrate. Not a career, not a personal brand, not a 5-year plan. A song." And here's what that means. A song isn't just a destination. It's a way of moving through life. It's something that pours out of you, not something you construct. It's something the world needs to hear, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. You didn't come here to copy someone else's song. You didn't come here to wait until you're ready. You came here with something the world has never heard before, carried across time, refined through struggle, encoded in your deepest longings. The only question is whether you'll let it be heard. So I want to ask you something, and I want you to sit with it, not answer it quickly. If you set aside everything you were supposed to want, the titles, the validation, the approval, what is the one thing you would pour yourself into, even if no one ever noticed? That answer, quiet as it is, might be the most important thing you discover about yourself. Not because it's the answer to all your problems, but because it's you, the real you, the one that existed before the world told you who to be. Cayce believed we are not accidents. He believed each soul is a deliberate expression of something the universe is trying to understand about itself. And you are part of that understanding. If something in this video stirred something in you, a recognition, a longing, a question you've been afraid to ask, don't let it fade. That stirring is real. Stay with it, explore it, follow it wherever it leads. I'll be here in this space, continuing to map the terrain of the soul, through Cayce, through ancient wisdom, through the questions that most people are too busy to ask. If you want to keep going deeper, I'll see you in the next one. The journey doesn't end here. It's just beginning.